What's up guys, Alpine Gremlin again here with some more World of Tanks. This video we're going to be taking a look at one of the two turreted American tank destroyers. This is the M36 Jackson. It is, of the two, you can see how I came out here. As you remember, I did an Easy 8 video, and I ground through the Easy 8 a little bit again to get to the Jackson, because I want to get into the non-turreted, heavily armored American tank destroyer line. And so I just skipped right over the first 5 TDs and went in, and I'm in the Jackson now. The Jackson is one of the two, obviously. So the other line being at this level would be the Hellcat. Now the Hellcat is definitely the more popular of the two because it's known for its very, very good speed. It doesn't have any armor at all, but it's very fast, and therefore it's a lot more flexible than the Jackson is. But the Jackson isn't slow. The Jackson does 42 kilometers per hour and actually has some kind of hull armor, 114 at the front, which is not bad for tier 6. It's actually, to put it into perspective, it's actually got thicker hull armor than the T-29 American Heavy's hull. So that's something there. And if you angle it, it can protect you from vehicles that are your tier or lower. Not all of them, however. Something you got to remember, some vehicles like the KV-1S are going to be able to put punch holes right through there with their 170 plus millimeters of penetration on their top gun. Which is being removed soon, though. The KV-1S is getting a nerf, it's getting that gun removed, but there are vehicles like other TDs that will be able to penetrate your armor frontally. So you don't want to rely on your armor in this thing. And its speed means that you're really not going to be doing too much flanking. So it doesn't have a very good traverse speed either. The turret traverses 16 degrees per second. That's pretty bad. That's slower than, I believe, the mouse turns, though I'm not particularly sure. Now, what's important to note is I don't know everything about this tank because I had no intention of fully upgrading it. What you're looking at now is the stock turret, the open top. The fully upgraded turret actually covers that space at the top and makes it less susceptible to high explosive and artillery damage. But if you look at it, the turret really doesn't offer any other advantages aside from high explosive protection. It adds a little bit more HP. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, those of you that have a fully upgraded Jackson, I believe the fully upgraded Jackson has about 610 hit points. But the stock turret and the upgraded turret, still they turn the same speed, 16 degrees per second. They have the same view range and they have the same amount of armor. And the turret armor is nothing to write home about. You got a great mantlet here, but if enemies can put shots through here, they're going to go through because it's only 72 millimeters thick or so. 76 actually. So important to know, I don't have it fully upgraded, nor do I intend on fully upgrading it. But it does perform relatively well, and I think I figured out a good strategy. The biggest thing about this tank is you really can't. It's not one of those tanks that you can't play it like a Hellcat. Certainly can't flank that well because it just doesn't have the speed. Now, its 42 kilometers per hour isn't bad. But it's not the quickest thing out there, and therefore, that the fact that it's not that fast and the fact that its turret traverse is awful means that it really is should be sitting back, posted up in the back as a sniping vehicle, and that's just have to play this thing. You generally have to play it this way in tier 6 battles, and this thing can see tier 8, so especially in tier 8 you definitely want to be chilling out at the back, letting other people do the spotting for you, because this thing is not a frontline vehicle. It is not very, it's too slow, and it doesn't have enough armor to be slugging it out at the front, so rather you want to be posted up in the back, and you definitely want to have camo trained up on your crew. And you want to take advantage of the tank destroyer camouflage bonus that it offers. So now that we can see how to play it as a more of a supporting vehicle, it's definitely one of those TDs that you can't get up in people's faces like a Fachin, or you can't really flank like the Hellcat. But the Jackson is still a good machine. Now, the gun, you get a choice of two guns. You can use the 76mm M1A2 that you have on the M4 on the EZ8 Sherman, and then you can upgrade to this 90mm gun AT M3, which is basically the tank destroyer version of the T-20's gun at Tier 7, the Tier 7 American medium tank. One of them, anyway. And you can see that the Hellcat has a couple additional gun choices, but the best gun is still the 90mm AT. So they can mount the same best gun. Now you can tell the sewer pipe, it looks different with the upgraded turret. It's actually got a muzzle brake, but with the stock turret, it's just got this sewer pipe fitted on the front. And with the stock turret and configuration, it is still a pretty effective weapon. It's still a pretty effective weapon. You got 7.5 rounds per minute. That gives you close to a 7-second reload, which isn't bad. You got about 160 millimeters of penetration on average, and 240 average damage. So for a Tier 6 tank destroyer, this does pack quite a punch, especially compared to vehicles like the Jagdpanzerfia, where on the way I have it set up is it only has 120 average damage. So you got the alpha damage advantage over some other of your compatriots at Tier 6, and it's definitely a competitive machine as long as you're sitting it back and it's not taking too much damage. In terms of crew skills, now these guys are going to be trained. These guys are going to be retrained for the T25 AT when I finally unlock it. But I'm training them in camouflage because, again, you don't want to really get spotted in this thing. Medium caliber tank gun rammer and a camouflage net. I didn't waste any credits on a third slot. You maybe an enhanced gun laying drive, just because why not get your aim speed down a little bit. The aim speed on the gun isn't terrible. It's actually pretty good, 1.7 seconds, but you could, so it doesn't really need that kind of thing, so I left it empty. And you can't mount improved ventilation because it's an open-topped vehicle, and improved ventilation would be highly redundant in this case. So, and again, I didn't have any intention of fully upgrading it, so just keep that in mind. I am not playing this thing fully upgraded. So I don't entirely take my word for it, because this isn't an honest tank, a completely honest look at the vehicle, because I don't have it fully upgraded. And as far as my ammo, 12 high explosive at 35 armor piercing with the usual small repair kit and first aid kit and a manual extinguisher. So anyway, let's take a look at some gameplay. Alright, so here we are on Ruinberg. We're playing an encounter. We have an encounter battle. Now, I think I'm gonna give you guys two gameplay samples. So this one when the Jackson is at top tier, and the other one is going to be when the Jackson is at the bottom of the list. So this will be a longer video than usual. So since we're on Ruinberg, we got a city environment. Takes up about 3/4 of the map almost, a little bit more than a half. So not a very friendly environment for the Jackson. So I'm going to go to the O line as these expert drivers in front of me get out of the way. So I'm going to go to the 0 line where I have a little bit more room to sit back and snipe, because again, I don't want to go in the city and have to be slugging it out because I don't want to rely on my armor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to post up in these bushes here, and I'm going to provide some cover for the Su-85 and the Matilda and the Churchill 1 that are going out in the field to spot. Now I have my gun trained down the road because a lot of people generally tend to come up that way. Our T-49 has initiated the encounter cap. VK-3001 comes over the rise. Put a shot on him, hit him for 252 damage. He takes another hit, and I finish him off for 237 damage. So that's our first kill of the game. Delivered the first strike. And you can see the reload again is about a little bit under 7 seconds, so you can definitely, it's got some decent damage per minute. Matilda's taken, the enemy Matilda's going to go down a little bit. And I'm going to wait a little bit longer. I mean, because there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of enemies coming to the field. So I can only assume that because they're taking this long, there's probably a lot more in the city than we originally thought. You can see right there the map, the red dots just appearing, and they just keep appearing. So far we know that the KV-1S and the M6 heavies are in there. Now the AT-8's been spotted in the field. He's probably their most heavily armored vehicle. Matilda's in the town. 2 of their AT-2s are in the town. So now I know, all right, I have to move up here because they're obviously not coming over the rise. I'm going to have to take the fight to them. Have to get up there and support my team. So I'm going to take a quick peek in town before I come over the rise to take up a firing position just to make sure that there isn't anything that's going to pin me in the side. So I spot the Type 58. There's my good view range of 370 meters, lets me spot him. And my good aim speed of 1.7 seconds lets me aim in very quickly. And my good .35 accuracy allows me to effectively hit him at about, I would say, 500 meters or so. So there's the AT-8. Now the AT-8's obviously a very heavily armored target with around 200 millimeters of frontal armor. My 160 millimeters of penetration is not going to get through that unless I hit him in the weak spot, which is going to be a little bit of a difficult shot to make. However, I can see now my team is quickly melting around me, so I'm not going to have a slugfest. I mean, I figure I have to put up the pressure here, but I take a bounce trying to flank the AT-8. I realize that I'm just not going to be able to get anything. Something over there is shooting me. It's a low caliber gun. You can see I took another bounce, but I don't want to expose my side armor to him. That's probably the Hetzer on the team, just because he's one of the only tanks that hasn't been spotted yet. So I'm not going to try and flank the AT-8 in a tank that's not built for flanking. I'm going to go into the town, unfortunately, now, and I'm going to have to help my team out. Otherwise, there's no way we're going to win this game. Our T-150 is the last Tier 6 left alive, aside from me and the artillery, and he's only got a T-28 to back him up. Though these two do a pretty good job holding their own until I get there. So moving into the town, you can see we got an M4 Sherman, a KV-1S, and the Excelsior is going to go out. I'm making sure that there's nothing coming around here. Now you can see we've lost track of the Hellcat. We don't know where that Hellcat is. So the M4 Sherman's ducking behind cover. I try to hide as much as my hull as possible, and expose as little of myself if he decides to come out using the Easy 8 as cover. Now their Hummel is... The Excelsior is going to engage the Hummel, but he's going to run into a little bit of trouble. You can see I'm going to come around this corner, and there's a KV-1S there. But as you can see, he doesn't have the 122 millimeter. So I know that I can get away with being a little bit aggressive because I want to take this guy down as quickly as possible. He's only got the 85, so I'm just gonna be a lot more aggressive, and I'm just gonna go out there. I'm gonna take a hit, and I'm gonna take him out of the fight. That might even be in the 75 millimeter. 100 is a really low roll. So I'm gonna finish off the Hummel, get the artillery out of there. Now there's that Hetzer that was shooting at me before. So I'm gonna hit him. Now the Hetzer's got good armor for Tier 4, but 160 millimeters of pen, it's not gonna save him in this case. Now, I think he's behind cover here, but once I realize that he can shoot me, as you can see here, I just take the shot. Because I know I have a shot at him if he has a shot on me, based on where his gun is located. So I'm at 5 kills now. The M4 Sherman is going to be is getting pretty brave. He's following the T-28. Tunnel vision. Don't want to do that. Passes right in front of me, full broadside, and I take him out. And I stop. You can see our artillery is asking for help. Now, the Hellcat is here. Now, if I recall, the Hellcat was on pretty low HP. He was only at 160 or so. So he's one-shottable for me. So now that I see that he's there, I'm going to try and get there before he takes out both of our artillery. Now we're pressuring them by getting on cap here. Well, actually, right now you can see that the Hellcat's on 422. I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. So T-28 blocks me. Come on, buddy, get out of the way. Where are you going? All right, so the Hellcat's going to go in and try and take out our Birch gun. The Birch gun whacks him for 263 damage, though, so now he's one-shottable for me. But I can't get there in time to save the Birch gun. Unfortunately, you can see, as I just look back, the AT-8 is at full HP. He's their most heavily armored tank right now, and he's going to engage our guys on the cap. I do not want to leave my team and go chasing after a Hellcat right now. And I figure I can get some good flank shots on his weaker side armor. So now is a one-of-a-kind chance, is a once-in-a-lifetime chance to do some serious damage to their most heavily armored vehicle. So I'm on his flank. I shoot, but his spaced armor eats it. Now there's their artillery now. Artillery's here. I aim a little bit higher on the AT-8 and start penetrating him. Now at the same time as I'm shooting him in between reloads, I'm frantically scanning my minimap for this Hellcat, because I do not want him to get behind me. At this point, I don't really know. I'm not too sure if he has the best gun or not. So if he's got the 90, he can take me out in a couple shots. So I don't want to get flanked by him. Now the AT-8, you can see the AT-8 luckily does not have the best gun, but he manages to kill my loader because I do give him a little bit too much on my side. Now he's turned his frontal armor to me, so I want to move in closer so I can get a better shot of his cupola, because there's no way I'm going to be able to penetrate his frontal armor. So I'm going to use my first aid kit on my loader, and I'm going to bounce his shot here. He hits my track. I shoot his cupola weak point and take him out. Now all that's left is it's me against the artillery and the Hellcat. Now the artillery obviously forgot where I was, so he's moving here. He passes right in front of my gun, and I managed to take him out. Now, here's what you got to notice. The Hellcat is definitely on the cap now. You can see the counter has been started. So the Hellcat's definitely around here on the cap. So I'm going to move in there and try and take him out. However, he gets off of the cap. Now, this is where the situation gets a little bit trickier to interpret. Now, in my mind, I'm thinking, all right, he's gotten off the cap. So that means that there's really only one logical place that he would go. If he got off the cap, he has to know that I'm here. I took out 2 of his guys in this sector here, in these couple grid squares. He's got to know that I'm around this area. So if I were him, I would have gone around this side and trying to take me from behind. Now that he's baited me into the cap circle, now he's probably going to try and flank around me. So I'm going to check just to make sure he didn't just hop off the cap. He's not there. And I don't want to get into the cap. I don't want to give him my exact location, so I don't get in the cap. But I train my gun down this road because I'm pretty sure that this is where he's going to be coming from, so I'm waiting for him. Aiming down the street. And bingo, there he is. Now I fire, and I dunk the shot, and I'm just thinking, oh, please do not let me donk this game. Do not let me lose this game right here. So you can see right now the Hellcat's coming in. Now I'm moving in. I'm going to take some cover by using the Churchill, because I still think he's got the 90mm at this point. But as he passes by me and I get a closer look, he not only bounces off my frontal armor here, but he also has the short stubby. He has the short barrel. So I can tell he's definitely using a lower caliber 76mm gun. So I rotate both my turret and my turret. I rotate both my turret and my hull to keep up with him. And luckily, he's not looking where he's going, runs into the Churchill, and I take him out for 9 kills. So, pretty good game. Definitely, we definitely had to come in and bail our team out at the end there for the victory. Ended up fighting in a claustrophobic environment against tanks that the Jackson really doesn't do well head-on with. but we managed to make it work, and luckily we were able to maximize our being at the top of the list. So now let's look at some post-game stats. Alright, so here's the basic after-action report. You can see we weren't using a premium account in this battle, so we made 31,844 credits was our gross income, and 2,866 doubled experience. So pretty good. That was our ×2. We ended up getting a Top Gun, 6 kills, a Sniper medal, and a Radley-Walter's medal, which is when you get 8 or 9 kills in a single game. So we ended up taking out a lot of their, we damaged a lot of their vehicles, especially what's important is their artillery and a lot of their top tier heavy hitters, which is what we should be engaging as a top tier. Alright, and now we're taking a look at how we stack up with the team. So there's our medals there, Radley-Walters, Top Gun, and Sniper. 21 shots fired with 20 direct hits. We got 17 penetrations. This netted us 2,864 damage. We received 7 hits, only 3 of those which penetrated. 4 of them were non-penetrations, with a potential damage received of 780. We destroyed everything that we damaged, and we got 109 damage on spot. Now, I mean, if you just look at the score, this was a pretty hard carry. You could see 2,864 experience. The next most damaging player on our team only did 771, and he was a tier 4, no less, the T28. So we definitely carried the game. There's a KV2 with 0 damage. A couple of our guys doing 0 damage, less than 200. So it was ultimately necessary. It was a good thing that we had to go into the town and provide some support. Otherwise, if we had gone in a little bit later, we definitely wouldn't have won that. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed. This is going to be part 1. So we're not done looking at the Jackson just yet. So stay tuned for part 2 coming very, very soon. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.